Okay, let's talk about the stock market. These are the S&P 500 futures. We're going to look at the weekly chart, the daily chart, and the trade of the day. So stick around for that. Here on the weekly chart, we can see we've had a range this week already. It is Wednesday, and the range is up to about 81. So decent week. Begin to really fill in this distance between the old 4509 resistance and the 4631. Let's see, so far we've gotten as high as 4609 and a quarter here on the futures. You'll just realize the spider and the SPX may be a little bit different, right? Because those are primarily intraday products, right? So 46, we'll call it 4609, pretty good. You know, that only leaves us about 20, 21 points away, whatever it is, right? 22, yeah, maybe 22 points away from hitting this resistance. Still think that it is possible this week. Now we can get rid of this cycle low right here because that obviously didn't happen. I'm going to keep these other cycles in here for now, even though this one's been very, very strong all the way. Look at this. This cycle's been monster cycle. There is an August 13th low here, and just looking at these previous cycles, sometimes it's good. Occasionally it hasn't been. Like right here, nothing showed up on this cycle. Okay. So nothing showed up on that one, and nothing really showed up on this one. So we're going to really keep an eye on the way the market's behaving as it moves forward, because these are two different cycles, but the fact that they both kind of missed, right? You didn't see any pullback at all. Yeah, a little small dip here, but that's more has to do with the middle of being in the middle of a cycle. That's very common occurrence for the middle of a cycle to have a price stall and track sideways like that for a while. And then over here, we got this little red candlestick here, but that definitely cannot call that a pullback, yeah. So we're going to watch very carefully as we move forward. Does this August 13th, weekly cycle low show up? That's really important because the nature of the market could be changing in such a way that the cycles are going to change. So we'll keep an eye on that. Okay, let's look at the daily chart. All right, so here on the daily, this lineup here is the 4631. You can see we're almost there right now. And there's that 4609 and a quarter. Showed up today on this candlestick right here. Yep. I mean, we're a good 2/3, 3/4 of the way between these two lines. So just continues to be very strong. Though I will say, based on some data that I saw today, I think the market's going to cool off a little bit here. Maybe this week, later this week, early next week, whatever. Like I mentioned yesterday, I do think we're going to begin to see some consolidation. Okay, that doesn't mean it can't get above this 4631 first. It could get up into there, and then we'll just see what happens. It might just hit this resistance at 4631, and that's it. We'll just see how this plays out. But I do believe we're going to see a period of consolidation coming up here pretty soon as we approach, let's say, kind of the middle of this little cycle right here. July 31st area. So, it's a good 10 to 12 calendar days away. So there's still a good possibility it could get up into this 4631, maybe even get above it and then consolidate, or it could start consolidating, even right now in the next few days. We'll just keep an eye on this. But I did see some data that makes me think that the market's going to cool off a little bit. Okay, so that's the daily. Okay, we can also remove this cycle low here, at least the date. Again, here's that August 13th on the daily chart, and there's also one for August 21st. So we'll really keep an eye on these daily cycles because those are really, really important. And if they start moving around, of course, we'll update the weekly. But these are going to be really super critical to see what happens as we get into the second and third week of August. Do we get any? Because there's also this little cycle right here. See, there's 3 cycles going on here that are pretty close. There's this little one right here too. And that one ends on, looks like somewhere right around August 10th. Right, so you got this little cycle, August 10th. You got this big purple cycle, this August 13th. And then you got this kind of medium-sized yellow cycle, this August 21. So they're all kind of happening right in close proximity. So I would expect with this much, these many cycle lows kind of occurring in the same place, I would expect price to begin to reflect that and start pulling down from wherever it's at that point. Let's just say it consolidates, goes up a little bit more, and then pulls down. we'll have to watch these 2, 3, 4 week area right here. 2 to 3 weeks right in this area is going to be pretty big. If the market doesn't pull down into this, then we got a big change in the behavior of the market, especially if it just goes over here and tracks sideways. Ooh, that's going to be, if that happens, that's going to be a very strong occurrence. If we don't see any pullback at all, going into like the second and third weeks of August, like nothing going on, the latest, the fourth week, we don't get any kind of price decline. It's just sitting there consolidating, tracking sideways. That's going to, in my book, is going to be a big sign that the market is very, very strong and very bullish. And that means there's a big behavior change in the marketplace. So this is going to be, the kind of middle of August, late August is really key to finding out what exactly is the market going to do. Is it, how strong is this market? Is there any sign of weakness at all? That's going to be really key, okay? All right, let's look at the trade of the day. Okay, here we are on the 5-minute chart for the trade of the day. These, just as a reminder, these are the S&P 500 futures. Look at the E-minis. This would apply to the E-micros as well, and potentially apply to the SPDR and the SPX. Though, just remember, like I said, those are kind of intraday products, so they're gonna their range usually isn't going to be as big as the futures. Okay, almost like yesterday, at least the last couple days, 2-3 days of the last week's worth of trading. Sure enough, right around pre-market, just before opening, we get a lot of, we've been getting a lot of alerts right around that time. I think this one is, 8:05 here in Texas. That'd be 9:05 in the East Coast, like, New York, whatever, Florida. So this alert came in at 8:05 my time. And I mean, just look at this thing. What a thing of beauty. Okay, the SMI is already elevated, meaning it's above the top line here. You can see the SMI, the Stochastic Momentum Index, is pretty elevated. All right, so you kind of need to be aware of that there could be a pullback. But the real key here was, and like we see this a lot, that the MACD was just beginning to get into positive territory and really beginning to take off. You know what I do in those, and I talked about this yesterday, and I'll say it again today. You know what I do in this situation? I take a small position right up in here somewhere. You're within a candlestick or two. With the MACD being this strong above the zero line, already separated like that, as soon as this alert came up and this 5-minute candlestick ended, which is, I think it's this one. No, it's this one right here. As soon as that candlestick ended, with the MACD looking like that, I would have taken a position on that candlestick right there. It would have been a small position. And whatever constitutes small for your account, that's different for everybody. But I would have taken a small position, okay? And I would wait it out a little bit because I see that the SMI is very, kind of elevated here. And just to see, does it begin to roll over? When I say small position, I mean long here, right? It went sideways for a little bit and then it took off. I mean, there it is. There's your money. That's the money for the day. You're making bank right there. It ran from about, you'd probably get in down here at, I would, on this, I'm in at 45.91, 91 and a half. And I'm riding that all the way up to the top of this candlestick. I'd probably get out on this red candlestick right there. So you're looking at like maybe 4,600. Okay, that's really, really nice. It's a nice little run right there. And that's good money. Nothing wrong with that at all. And then there actually was another really good trade of the day on the 5-minute chart right here. Now this one obviously would have been long. With futures, guys and gals, just so you know, long or short makes no difference. I know a lot of my members trade options, and it obviously puts and calls come into play there and those kind of strategies. But in futures, long and short's the same. It's the same amount of margin. It's the same amount of risk. It doesn't matter. So in this case, look right here. This alert came in right here. Look at that. This SMI was really elevated. And guess what? As soon as it rolled over here, which probably would be, let's see, which candlestick this happened on? Yep, this candlestick right here. Right at the close of this candlestick, guys. So I'm taking the trade as soon as that candlestick closes, and right at the open of this candlestick, right at the tippy top there. And that's it. You're riding it all the way down. A little, just like a candlestick or two later, the blue line, the MACD begins to roll over, and eventually it crosses over, right? And then you trade that. Only candlestick that gave you any pause at all was that little green one, but you just stay in the trade all the way to the bottom here. Probably at least till about 45.95. So with these two trades, you're making really good money. A lot of choppy stuff going on in here. This was probably tradable if you knew it was coming. But just on these two alerts alone, this one here at early in the morning, just before pre-market, and this one over here pretty late in the day, like 2:15, I guess it was. Those are two really great trades of the day. The GETIS Plus indicator lets you know what's going on. This chart, by the way, for those that don't know, this is streamed live to my members. The 5-minute, the 15-minute, and the 1 hour all get streamed. So they see this. They see this alert come up, this GETIS Plus alert comes up. And I'll show you in a minute here on the Discord server. The alerts actually get sent over to the members' Discord server, and they can get notified on the Discord server if they're busy, right? And they can't watch the streaming chart. Their app can let them know that, hey, ding, 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 or vibrate or whatever. Trade, there's an alert, and they can do what they want. They may want to trade, they may not. So this is really good. Two really good trades of the day right there. All right, so here is the Discord server where all the membership services take place. They all take place on the GETIS server. Okay, and just real quick, before I talk about the membership, here was the 805 GETIS Plus we saw on the streaming chart. Here it is coming in as an alert, 805 right there, 5-minute alert. And then here was the 215 one that we also talked about later in the day. So really nice, right? They get to see the streaming chart, but if they're busy, then maybe they have a mobile app, whatever. They might have desktop, laptop, whatever device they're on. They're going to right-click on the label for S&P 500 alerts. They're going to come here, they're going to click all messages, and they're going to get alerted, right? And they're going to know that some alerts are coming in. They can check those alerts and decide whether or not they want to trade them, no matter how busy they are during the day, right? And then the same thing applies for gold alerts, crude alerts, top 30 stocks for S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. And then daily only alerts would be more like people who want to do swing trades. We don't always get alerts in this channel every day, but some days we do, some days we don't. I'll talk about the premium symbols here in a moment. Okay, but if you like what you're seeing in this video and you want to become a member, click on the first comment. It'll be the top comment in the YouTube video, just below the video. It's going to bring you over to this GETIS server. Make sure you read that comment really well so that you know how to become a member. There might be a few things you need to do there to make sure that the signing up for the membership goes smoothly. Okay, so make sure you read that. Then once you come to this server, you're going to click on server subscriptions. You're going to get this page right here. $7.99 a month. Okay, I've had many members tell me they make a year's worth of profit. I mean, they make enough profit to pay for the membership for a year. Some people for multiple years. Okay, I keep it inexpensive because with today's economy, I want my members thinking about making bank, not figuring out how they're going to come up with an expensive membership every month. So, if you're patient enough, this membership is going to more than pay for itself easily. All right. We've had quite a few new members. That's great. Welcome, new members. Just make sure if you come in as a new member, please read the rules. And there's the refund rules. There's the please be nice to everybody rules. And I think there's a disclaimer in there. Okay, important to read the rules, yeah. And if you want to get the nightly email, make sure you put your email address in the emails only channel. Okay, members, and then you'll get a nightly email. It's going to include the S&P 500 chart and at least a couple of sentences, sometimes a paragraph, of my opinion about what I think the market's going to do. Okay, and just lastly, you can pause the video right here if you want to. This is all of the services that take place on the Discord server. All right, it's a membership only server. So when you come to the server, you pay, you get access to all the channels. Okay, I talked about the streaming charts, but just real quick, 5-minute, 15-minute, 1 hour and charts. Okay, those stream 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. And I talked about the S&P 500 alerts, 5-minute, 15-minute, 1 hour. So those get alerted and sent to the Discord server. Okay, the top 30 stocks for S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, again, 5-minute, 15-minute, 1 hour. And daily on this one. Just daily on this too. And the premium symbols. Okay, so the GETIS Plus indicator that we saw in the streaming charts, that logic at the end of each day is the same logic. Right, at the end of each day, I used to go get the symbols for the futures, for stocks that are optionable, for industries, sectors, and subsectors. Because for those people that are in the know, funds rotate their money in and out of sectors and subsectors. So that's why I have that in there. And then I have some logic that'll pick out symbols that look like they may be getting ready to be shorted. Okay, so these are all just files, right? They're just files that sit in the premium symbols channel on the server. And I really encourage new members, please look at those files. And like I've always said, people are busy. working jobs, raising family, doing all the things that you do, whatever you're doing after work. I get it. People are busy. But take a look at these files because there's some really, really good symbols in there. A lot of my members trade options. I do have some members who are like me that prefer to trade futures. I trade a lot of futures, and I do look at my own files, actually, believe it or not. And I actually use my own service. And I've had quite a few good trades coming out of this futures symbols file, so take advantage of it. Okay, I talked about the nightly email. All right, and of course, YouTube videos are for everybody. All right, everybody, God bless everybody. Listen, guys, love one another, forgive one another. We really need that in today's world. Happy trading, everybody. We'll talk to you all real soon again next time.